Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to everyone. Thank you, the guest, for joining in. My name is Dr. Tausif Malik. We have very uh, knowledgeable experts from Japan. Uh, I have known Alex for a year now. Alex is from EdgeOff. He's one of the very key stakeholders in the startup industry. And when we launched Halal Angels Network last year, 2020, he was one of the first persons who said yes to us, and so. Thank you, Alex, for that. I have with me Akram Haq, who's my co-host today. Akram is a very Momo from Japan. She's from startup Fukuoka city, which is one of the largest cities of Japan, which is promoting startup ecosystem. She's a very renowned face in the startup industry. We also have Dr. Saeed Jaffer. He's very prominent figure in the halal industry because he's the director for Nippon Halal Association, which is one of the premium association giving certification for halal businesses. Um, Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Uh, I will just give a small background about Halal Angels and how we are working on this. Akram, can you run the slide share, please? It's not working. Okay. So, can you do full screen, Akram?
I think his system got hanged. So why don't you do one thing, Mr. Akram?
It's okay. I'll talk.
Yeah, it is working. It is working. Please go on.
Yeah, Halal Angels, we started in 2020, but this idea came in like a couple of years ago when I got into the startup ecosystem, maybe 15, 20 years ago. But then Angels Network was very gentle, topmost. But slowly I moved into the halal economy in America and I saw this is a $5 trillion economy. Even in America, the Muslim consumer market is $170 billion. And the minute you say halal, halal doesn't mean anything to do with Muslim. It means actually ethical code, how you deal with every stakeholder of your society, whether it's internal stakeholder or whether external. Means if your business is honest, you will pay your taxes on time. If your business is honest, you will pay your supplies on time. If your business is good, you will pay your investors on time. If your business is ethical, then you pay your staff on time. So it is against crony capitalism. It is more of ethical. I got involved in this market. I ended up doing a PhD degree in that, and I decided that I should start something for a network on that. So initially, I started a Muslim spelling bee competition for Muslim kids in America, and it became second largest. I moved back to India, and I started doing you know uh, events for the Muslim entrepreneurs where I can connect it with the government of India, because India is the third largest unicorn country after USA, China, and India is number three. And India's one-fifth population is Muslims. So we wanted to connect India's population with the government of India schemes and the vision of $5 trillion economy. So we are pitching the story that one-fifth of Muslim population, 1 trillion should go support the government initiative of $5 trillion economy. I was thinking of doing these events, and I started doing some events in India called All India Muslim Business Startup Network, where I started sharing government of India schemes. And this was an open platform where anyone can join, nothing to do with religion. And with God's grace, 40% of our supporters or 50% of our supporters are from the mainstream. So we started doing HNI events in India where we were just doing events. Second thing, we went to poor schools and we said we can kickstart entrepreneurship, because poor kids drop out of school, and how much ever you do, but they'll drop out. So we thought, we went to poor schools and we set up an incubation acceleration center. And that idea became very profound and impactful. And in 2019, we signed our idea with Nahdlatul Ulama, Indonesia's largest social organization, about our events. The next thing what we did is, uh, we we were doing something on venture capital. But my mother forbade me, don't get into venture capital because you're taking somebody else's money, giving it to somebody. And by mistake, if you give it to somebody, it will be problematic. So we decided not to go ahead with that and look at Angel Network. And we launched Angel Network in 2020. And it was very interesting, as Asian people like Alex and, Momo, we are all Asians, we respect our parents. And I launched this event, this project from under of the feet of my mother. And the blessing of my mother, I believe, and the idea was strong. It became a viral thing. So this is what we wanted to do. Now, the challenge why we are doing this is halal economy is growing. Vietnamese government, even though there's no Muslim population, but they want to target 1 billion Muslims in Asia. That's the whole agenda. The other thing what they want to do is, other people is this market is growing. But in this market, the challenge is funding issues. And we thought of helping this funding issue. And the best way was matchmaking with startups and angel investors. And we started doing this. After a launch, we signed up with SSE Capital, which is one of the biggest venture capital funds from Tanzania. And then we moved on. Akram, next slide, please. Now, why this is very important? Because entrepreneurs spur growth, national income, social change, create innovation, solve problems. All these things help entrepreneurship. And this was needed in the halal economy. Next slide, please. And now this is a data. Now this data is the halal consumer market is estimated to grow to $9.71 trillion. And countries which have large population is a good market, but it can also be an export-oriented market. The economy is going to grow very fast in this space. Technology is booming, and this is where we want to stand. So thank you so much for listening to me. I will now hand out to Akram. Akram is the co-host, and he will introduce the speakers and then the event.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Malik, for the brief intro and also sharing a brief about the potential of the halal economy across the globe and potential of India and Japan. India and Japan are the, I think, lifelong allies, the longest allies in the history of both of our countries. We have stood to each other on many occasions of global crisis as well as of our domestic crisis and issues. And Japan has biggest and most confident friends of India. So we thank you to all our speakers joining us from Japan. Now, Japan has a lot to share to the world in terms of technology innovation, in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of even basic civilizational behavioral things. So I will start the program with a small video on Japan just to show what Japan is, and then we'll brief about and what Japan culture is, and then connect it with halal economy, because Japan is also the country which exports to almost all countries in the world. Hence, and Muslim community is one of the biggest community of the world. So hence, there is also a very big correlation we can establish. But to start off, I want to show something that Japan has to offer to the world, which I think irreplaceable and unimaginable for anyone.
This car stops for kids who want to cross the street, and as a way of saying thank you, watch what they do next. This is what you call respect. This might be a rare sight for most of the world, especially from children this age, but not in Japan. Here, even if they're in a hurry, they never forget to pay respect. Japanese kids are even polite to machines. And in the world where there is too much rudeness, Project Nightfall needs to investigate how the hell Japanese kids are different from the rest of the world. Well, first of all, while most schools teach only academic knowledge, in Japan, children are being also taught good manners. Not kidding! In Japan, parents don't escort their kids to school. And once they reach the school, they are taught how not to be spoiled by serving their own food, doing the dishes, cleaning their mess. What's crazy about it is that it's so effective that in many Japanese schools there are no janitors. No janitors because the children are the janitors. And once that young kid is back home, politeness doesn't stop. Just look at this adorable little girl who offers her mother help by buying stuff from the store alone. And on the way to the store, she even knows exactly how to recycle trash. What a beautiful side of good manners, a result of a system and tradition that in Japan people practice for more than 60 years now. What you're looking at now is an amazing example of good manners taught from young age. Impressive good manners in a huge country. After all, Japan's population is 126 million people, and yet it's considered one of the most disciplined, organized, and cleanest countries. They also have one of the lowest crime rates in the world. And all of this is a proof that no one is born rude or aggressive. Most often, bad behavior is being taught at the level of home, at the level of school, and even at the level of the whole country. And so as we look at these children being so nice, as we look at these adults living in unity, acting so politely, I hope you can help me share this video to send an important message that if we want our children to grow into selfless, loving, kind, and responsible people that we can be proud of, it all starts with us.
So thank you so much. So this is the video that I wanted to show, just to show what Japan stands for and what Japan means to the world. Now, this was one perspective of Japan. The other perspective is also the Muslim community, the Muslim community that reside in almost all countries of the world. This concept of halal, the money that we earn, the money that we spend, the money that we invest, how much of that is in an ethical way, and how much of that are used for the benefit of humankind. Because if our money, does not benefit for the humankind or does not come for the benefit of the humankind, then there is a message to give. So I think this combination brings a very important perspective. So with this, and we will talk on that. So to discuss this, I will first request I want to introduce our speakers. So we have Mumu Makinos, who is the director of startup Fukuoka from Japan. We have Alex. Alex is the founder of Age of Innovation. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining us. And we have Dr. Saeed Akhtar, who is director of Nippon Asia Halal Association, Japan. So we will hear from you. What do you understand about this concept, and how can we, the startup fraternity or community, bring ethical business solutions to the whole of the world? So I will first request Mumu to kindly share your remarks.
Yep, hello. Very nice to see you, and thanks for to invite this great event. And actually in Fukuoka City, so I know the couple number of people, and so the who are the Muslim, and some of them are running the sort of a Muslim restaurant, whatever.
Excuse me, Mumu,
so
your voice is very low. Can you speak a little loud, please, if you can?
Okay, yeah.
Can't hear you. It's very low.
Now, so can you hear me clearly now?
A little more. The voice is low. Can you use a earphone or something?
Now I'm screaming.
Okay, you go on. We can hear you, Dr. Malik. Maybe some issue with your system.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So because of the distance between Japan and India. Okay. Yeah. And today I want to touch upon the Fukuoka City. Fukuoka City is supporting all the startup. Of course, all the startup, and including the halal businesses. So this is the agenda. So the first global startup center. This is our organization run by Fukuoka City. I want to touch upon that. This is our team, and my name is Muma, and also today my colleague Ko is helping me. Next to Ko Daniel, and he actually he's Hong Kongese, but his family originally come from the Gujarat, India. So somehow our team is already connected to the India. So this is our services. So usually we support the 14 foreign entrepreneur or the startup company to come to Japan and Fukuoka. So what the people need is a visa. And the Fukuoka city has a special visa, it's called a startup visa, which is available in a couple of cities. But Fukuoka city is very active to support that. And once they settle in Fukuoka, and people have to incorporate the company, we support that. Find the office and housing, we do that. And the people need to take Japanese regulation, taxation, we do that. And maybe the people need a sort of a business partner so that we can introduce, so that our service is quite broad. So why Fukuoka? And I just simply touch upon 4 sort of advantages. And first, Fukuoka is safe, that geographically safe. And maybe you can imagine the map of Japan. All the big cities are located on the Pacific Sea side, except Fukuoka. Now, the people is worried about a big earthquake, and it often happened on the Pacific Sea side, but Fukuoka is rather safe. Second, quality of life. And Fukuoka city is quite compact. So then, for example, today, now we are in the center of Fukuoka city. If I get the subway to the Fukuoka airport, half an hour later, I'm in front of the airplane. And the cost of living the cheaper to Tokyo. So I think this is a very good location to start the business in Japan. Third, startup ecosystem. Fukuoka is already very famous startup city. And so city is supporting as well as this function. Our team and also the rest of this facility is also supporting the startup. Fourth, proof of concept, sort of the trial. And the Fukuoka city is very keen to support that. So this means if you come to the Fukuoka, you can enjoy the safe life, the quality of life, and also all the necessary support from the Fukuoka city together with our team. We also have sort of partners to support each other. Now, I think the 11 country area and the 15 collaborative institutions. In Southeast Asia, we have some partner in the Taiwan and the Thailand, Singapore. Maybe we hope the next one will be some organization from India. And so I'll explain about the certificate a little bit. So what the difference is? If the foreigner want to open a business in Japan, they have to get, it's called business manager visa. And I just touch upon the startup visa. What is the difference is? Compared to the business manager visa, you don't have to set up a company at the beginning. You don't have to inject the capital of the 5 million Japanese yen. So the startup visa give it a 6 months up to 1 year's moratorium period. By using this time, you can do the market research, you can find a business partner or sort of a suitable office, whatever. Once you have the competencies, just change to the business manager visa. This is the advantage. So as I mentioned, startup visa will be valid for 6 months and up to 1 year. And the only criteria is that your business should be innovative. And after up to 2 founder can apply as far as the role of the 2 people had a totally different role in the company. This is a couple of examples. Steampunk Digital come from Canada, and they have a sort of a very special AI technology. And this photo explains that this is some example which Steampunk Digital Services introduced to Fukuoka City Museum. Next, the Smarty comes from China. And they have a very characteristic voice recognition system. So that with the Wi-Fi, with the Bluetooth, and by using voice recognition, for example, we can switch on and switch on the light, or so the TV, whatever. The evidence is quite successful as well. So business matching. Business matching is that so that maybe you are not ready to come to the Fukuoka yet, but just contact us. We can find a sort of suitable partner. Yeah, although that you are in your country. Okay. Desk Me come from Finland, and so they are developing the sort of the working desk reservation system, and this system is already introduced in working spaces run by the Japan Railway Kyushu company. So this is they are a physical product, and we are still promoting to be used in other working spaces. So in that sense, we are the marketing team for this product. Facility come from the France, and their technology is for the eye handicapped people. So as far as people have a sort of disability of the eye, they gotta see the website. And Fukuoka City official website already into these services. So all the people have a sort of difficulty of the eye, they can check the Fukuoka City official website. Silence come from the Estonia. They are producing this sort of phone booths. Now it is getting very popular due to the COVID-19. And we introduced one very big office furniture manufacturer, which is listed in the Tokyo Stock Exchanges. Actually, the company also has the similar product, but due to the huge demand, they will have they are trying to have a second the options. They are talking to Chinese company, price is okay, but the quality not okay. Finally, since we introduced this product to the company, price is affordable and the design is perfect. Now they actually maybe today they signed the NDA and they can start the official talk in this week. And this is a slogan, start easy, start first. It means Tokyo is the biggest market and Osaka is also quite a big market. But just to begin with, the business in Japan, maybe Fukuoka might be the good places to start because we support everything. Okay, we have a very compact team, compact city, right? Everything is visible. So start easy, start fast, Fukuoka City. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Momo, for the brief introduction about your startup and what all services that you provide. I think many of our entrepreneurs and individuals who are joining us, participants who are joining us here, they might have some questions. So we'll talk that during the question and answer session. Dr. Malik, would you like to add something here?
My experience since the time I've been interacting with Alex and later with Momo and his team, especially Yoshi. The first time the culture, because I had Japanese friends in America, that's a personal thing. But professionally, I've started experiencing extremely professional people. They honor what they say, and they try to adjust. So it would be a great thing if companies want to relocate to Japan. And there's a lot of initiatives now, especially now, what Momo talked about, her city ecosystem, Alex talking about, Shibuya. So there's a lot of great opportunities. Halal Angels per se is a global platform. We are connecting startups across the globe and investors. And, we have a Japanese, vision also because Japan, most of the Middle East companies, my personal experience has been working with Toyota for branding for the Gulf with my boss. Later, Mr. Basam Hasuna. So it's a very great experience working, and the Middle East is a huge market for Japanese. I was talking to Dr. Said the other day, who's one of the speakers, and he says outbound is a huge export for to the halal market, and that's what I think he'll talk in the presentation. So any company who comes to Japan, they can use their technology, they can use the system and export from Japan, because the minute you export from Japan, your quality standards are assumed very high, and that everyone will agree. Japan and Germany very quality high. Now we can invite Alex, if you can.
Yeah, Alex. Now may I request Alex to give your remarks?
Great. Hello, everyone. Hope you can hear me well. Great. So let me start my presentation, which will be more about, in general, the background of the Japanese economy, the landscape for startups, and I would like to show a little bit why it's very important for Japan to become more global and try to have more interaction with the overseas. So before I go forward, very brief introduction of myself. I'm the CEO of a company named Edge of Innovation. I'm fully focused on helping foreign startups come to the Japanese market and vice versa. I'm working with over 20 countries with embassies and startup-related entities. I'm also the selecting committee member of J Startup, which is an entity under the Ministry of Economy. I'm also the global ambassador of Shibuya City office program named the Startup Support Shibuya. I'm also the board member of La French Tech, which is a French organization. I'm also the Japan representative of German Entrepreneurship, which is a German entity which is helping German startups come to Japanese market. But anyway, in short, I'm trying to globalize this quite domestic startup ecosystem of Japan. And so before going into the deeper, let me give you the landscape. So in terms of GDP, we're still the number 3 in the world. And that's a bit old number, but from 2013. But still, you can see that Japan is almost like a combination of many big companies. For example, the northern part is the GDP is almost equivalent to Sweden. Saudi Arabia has the same size of GDP as the middle part of Japan. So it's almost like all those countries put together represent what Japan worth in terms of GDP. However, though, it's been no scale for almost 30 years now. It's been flat. As you can see, India is growing like exponentially, China the same. Even USA, Germany, or UK, which are quite old economy, are still growing. But when you come to Japan, it's like flat. And that can be also seen on the wages. So the salary of Japanese people hasn't grown, or almost even very slightly decreased in the last 20 years. It's probably the only country in the world, like at least in the developed country in the world, which is seeing that flat evolution, and you can really starting to feel it in your usual life. And why I'm selling all those things is because there is a reason for that. And one of the biggest reasons is that the corporates are not investing to make innovation themselves. Like, to grow the economy, you have to create innovation. But they're not investing in capital investment. They're not investing enough in R&D. Japan really is waiting the others to evolve, to innovate, and follow it. That's how Japan has been for the last 20 years. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, it's still not the very good best country, because that's a survey done asking people if they are not interested in starting a business. So when you ask Japanese people, almost 80% would say, no, I'm not interested. I don't want to become an entrepreneur. And when you ask the students if they prefer to go to big company, whatever they will have to do, or you want to start a company yourself, it's like they're only 0.4%. 4 people in 1,000 who would answer, yes, I want to start a company. Almost the half of it, they will like to go to big company, stable, whatever they will have to do. So that's the basic mindset. It's evolving in a better way, but really the basic mindset of Japanese people is not really entrepreneurial. They prefer to go to big corporate, work for the government, have a stable, safe job. That's the basic mindset. And you can see here, the fear of failure is extremely high. and they are not wishing to start a company. A very big contrast compared to China, where the fear of failure is still very high, but they are really desiring to start a new business. So this sense of risk taking is very crucial and almost critical for the innovation background of Japan. So that was the whole landscape, and now I'll go into the startup ecosystem. So that's the number of unicorns per country, right? So the GDP, we're at the number third, but still, when you compare the number of unicorns, we're extremely lower compared to the two other countries. So the government is trying to change this situation. The amount of investment to startup is growing for sure. Last year in 2021, the amount of investment to startups went over $8 billion US dollars, the highest of the whole history. So it's really growing very fast. The J Startup, the organization of the Ministry of Economy, is also trying to do a lot of creating new regulations, creating incentives to corporate to invest to startups to change the situation and make things evolve. And Shibuya has this entity, Shibuya Startup Support, which is targeting to support foreign startups come to the Japanese market. The Tokyo City has also an entity. Just to let you know that Fukuoka is probably the best next or outside of Tokyo as a city to go as a foreign startup. And not saying this because Mumu is here, is the truth. And Lily, it's a very unique city in Japan, which Lily Wars, have a look at it if you are thinking to come to Japan. And there are hundreds and hundreds of different accelerators. Sorry, I couldn't find an English version of it, but you can find accelerator for local governments, the healthcare, energy, IT, food tech, or real estate, even entertainment. Any kind of startup you are from, you probably will be able to find an accelerator in Japan. And the good thing is, one of the very rare good thing COVID did is that the remote working became so normal. Those accelerators are now open to foreign startups to participate to it before coming to Japan. Plug and Play, which is probably one of the very most famous accelerator in the world, Plug and Play exists also in Japan, and they are now open for any foreign startups to participate from outside of Japan. And also the good thing of those accelerator is that not only they will explain about the Japanese economy or how to prepare your deck, etc., but they will also let you connect to Japanese corporate. And there are more and more Japanese corporate who are capable of speaking Japanese and speaking English to be able to collaborate with foreign startups. So if you are looking to come to Japan, check accelerator programs could be very, very important. And another interesting fact is that in Japan, most of exit are made through IPO. I'm not sure if it's a good thing because that's the reason why we don't have enough unicorns in this country, but still, if you are a startup looking for an early exit, trying to go IPO in Japan could be a way to go. And so all those things said, the other important part is that investment to startups are coming from large corporates. Almost half of the amount of investment to startups are coming from corporates. The government has created the regulations about 2 years ago to create a tax subvention if a company invests more than $1 million to your startup. So there are a lot of things which makes those corporate available for foreign startups with a good technology, even if they're not sure about the business structure. If they have a good technology, which could be a good fit with the core business of those corporate VCs, that might become an opportunity to get investment from a Japanese company. And one very important fact to remember is that Japanese corporate have so much cash in the bank account, they don't know what to do with it. And they have, like the conversion to US dollars is you divided by 100. So it's about 4 trillion US dollars in a bank account in cash that which are waiting to be used. And corporate are not investing to R&D themselves. They are not purchasing anything. They're just keeping it as a cash. So the government is trying to target this huge amount of cash to be used to make more innovation. And that's why the amount of corporate investment to startups is growing. We're having more and more POC, prototyping project between large corporate with startups. And a lot of agencies or entities in Japan who can help the collaboration of foreign startups and a Japanese company. And if I remember correctly, what Mumu is doing in Fukuoka is right this. So if you're foreign startups, you need support to collaborate, you can have those partners in Japan to be able to move forward. And to finish the presentation, there are 3 industries that is very much growing very much, is based on the fact that Japan is decreasing population. So if you have any robot AI or any kind of service or technology that could help a company to run without employees, that's one big solution. Digital transformation would be part of it. It's also an aging population. So your service is targeting elderly people. That's definitely a good fit. It's an ethical topic which is in demand in Japan, and people have a lot of cash to spend on it. So if you are targeting silver tech, we're calling this a silver tech in Japan, but a kind of service for elderly people, that will be a good fit too. And to finish, the energy. So everywhere in the world, CO2 is a big issue, especially in Japan because of the nuclear plant got distracted due to the earthquake 10 years ago. And so everyone is trying to go to coal and oil to make energy, and that's definitely against the climate. And really any energy, environment issue, technology, it's really a good fit right now in Japan. So everyone is looking for that. So thank you very much. I rushed to make sure I finish in 10 minutes, but if you have any questions, I can answer it later.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alex. Wonderful presentation, giving a complete macro picture of the beautiful country, Japan. Now we will try to connect it with ethical investment and ethical startups. So after Momo and Alex, let me invite Dr. Saeed Akhtar. Dr. Saab, if you can come and share your remarks. So I would also request you to, if you give a little broader perspective on halal or ethical market, so that there is a balance between startup and halal that we are talking. Dr. Akhtar? Dr. Akhtar, your voice is not, you are not audible. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Please.
Sorry for that.
Your camera is also not working.
No,
now it's working. Now it's working.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me the time. This is Saeed Akhtar, Director of Nippon Asia Halal Association. My introduction is that I'm a Pakistani national, food scientist by profession, living and fall in love with Japan since 1996. I moved to Japan since 1996 for my PhD from University of Tokyo. I finished in 1999. Then I'm a halal auditor and trainer, as well as an organic auditor and trainer. In halal certification body, I have started in 2013, famously known as NAHA, but it's actually Nippon Asia Halal Association. By Nippon, I put in the bracket Japan, but actually Nippon means Japan. So if somebody is confused that why I put 2 times, just to introduce the foreigners, most of the time people don't know that Nippon meaning is Japan. Today we were talking about a lot of times Japanese way of living and culture and so many things. One of the important thing is history of Japan from education point of view. No doubt they are very highly educated people since long time ago, 1885. Even the women were educated here in Japan. That brought them to the very high quality manners of business. And if you go a little bit past culture, it's called samurai culture. Samurai culture is basically is a very respectful culture in all different way, by pride, by making products with very high quality, with name of Japan with made in Japan, all those things comes in this culture. After World War II, of course, American culture also introduced in the dressing and the food, and so many other Western culture invaded to Japan. GDP, say, in the early days after World War II was bad. In 1960s, even Pakistan and Japan economy was almost similar. Their lifestyle was they're copying the world products like bullet train Shinkansen. They got it from France, but then they make it in a better quality than France even. So for Japanese people, follow the law, as you have just seen the video, hardworking, very hardworking, and honesty, very trustable, and never compromise on the quality. These are the very key words if you want to work with Japanese people. Talking about the history of halal in Japan, actually started in 1960s, but until 1999 and 2000 era, there are 2-3 organizations giving halal certifications, but they were not very much active. If any company wants halal certificate, then they issue, but no one proactively approached companies and certify those. So the history changed after 2010 when Japan Halal Association, Nippon Halal Association, and this Japan Halal Japan Association, which is a non-Muslim, but they are consultant company. These 3-4 organizations have jumped in the halal business. So quickly, very short time, Japanese start understanding and learning. A lot of seminars happen. Government start supporting. Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Tourism, all those ministries put some subsidy for whoever want to get involved in halal. That make 2013 as the first year of halal certification in Japan that many companies really want to get halal certificate. As you can see around the world, the halal is about $3 trillion business, but Japan is nowhere in this line. So Japan recently entered, and as you understand the Japanese people way of learning, that first, if they want to do certain things, they will learn it very properly. So in my personal experience, if a company comes to get a halal certificate, first meeting, they do it today. So probably they will get involved in getting halal certification next year in January. So one whole year they try to study or they try to make it perfect, their company. Then they want to get in halal certification. So they must not do any mistake. And the made in Japan plus halal integrity must be there in every single product. I make this a very big scale this thing, but I will talk only on one major topic. First of all, the halal market is really big in Japan, as it is starting. Like if you see the Australia, or New Zealand, or America, or Canada, or Brazil, or those kind of things, their halal market is not growing. But in Japan, because they recently started, so that's why their market is really growing, very big in all sectors like manufacturing, tourism, services, agriculture. Plus, we call it outbound business when they produce a product and they want to sell it other countries. So today I will talk on this topic more detail. Later, if another chance, I will explain other topics as well. Inbound consists of tourism, hotel, restaurants, tourist spot. As all of us know that due to Corona, this industry is really in very bad shape nowadays around the world and in Japan as well. Culture we were talking about today, like if somebody want to do business in Japan, yes, opportunities are really great, but then there is certain difficulties or challenges are there. The government sector has their own culture. The business community has their own culture. Then the laborers, they have their own culture. The foreigners, they have their own culture. So how to mix up all these things in one place and do successfully is a big challenge. On this paperwork, like rules, regulations are there. For example, today we heard about visa things. So a lot of visa opportunities being offered, but when practically you go to the immigration office, then the challenges are different. Or even if you get a visa from Japan, then your country people feel your embassy in your country also like kind of challenge to issue you visa easily and nicely. So I would like to talk about this thing for the outbound business. This is really opportunities for particularly for India or Europe or America, because the products are very high quality. The things what they're producing is international standard. The prices, if you see the retail prices, you will see Japanese products are very expensive. But slowly, if you get involved in this business, then you will see that the wholesale prices are really good prices, and anybody can buy those products and can sell it to, like I'm from Pakistan, I have recently established a company there who will buy these products from Japan. And then India has similar culture, similar style, similar way of living. So I can compare that these things can be sellable. So what are those particular things where we can really have a lot of opportunities? First of all, this food-based supplements. Now, why I especially mention this food-based, because supplements are of so many different types. As you can see, the health of Japanese people, they really have a long life. So on their everyday basis, food is very high quality food with a lot of great supplements kind of things that they are eating. Why I use the supplement? Because if you say the green tea of Japan is a very healthy product, and then some fruits extracts are like the one which I understand is plum extracts. They are very good for health. So these supplements, when Japanese people on their everyday life they are eating, and I understand that their health is really good. If India and Pakistan, as far as I understand, our food has lacking certain basic ingredients to keep us healthy. So beside our very delicious food of India and Pakistan, if we eat these Japanese supplements, it will create good health in the shape of a good blood pressure or sugar level or hormonal balances, or so many good things are there. And particularly all these are food based, so no side effects or other those things are there. From cosmetics point of view, also the very high quality cosmetics are being manufactured in Japan and made in Japan. Brand is really good, very big in every kind of products, but cosmetics is they keep the similar integrity of high quality in cosmetics as well. And food, as far as Japanese food is on the table, is very delicious, as you can see on the left side picture. This kind of great foods are available, and once they make a packing that of foods like packed foods, processed foods, those are also very high quality. And food has certain limitations of what we call expiry date. So certain Japanese foods are very delicious, we enjoy here in Japan, but some we cannot export because of the very short shelf life. Now coming to the ingredients, like ingredients is a kind of a product which Japanese people are making, is going around the world towards Australia, America, towards India, Pakistan, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore. All these countries are buying from Japan. One of the reason is that the quality is very high, but the prices are comparable. Why? Because the prices of ingredients around the world are almost similar. You cannot make like it's made in Japan. That's why we will sell it expensive. So you cannot sell it expensive if you want to compete like any other ingredient like amino acids, cysteine. We want to sell it to Malaysia for making the ingredients of supplements and cosmetics. So Japanese product must be very competitive prices. So these prices are somewhat like gold prices around the world are similar. That's why you can have the Japanese ingredients with a very high quality, and you can sell it to different countries. So some of the, if like somebody wish to understand more in detail about from where they can buy these products or where those things are there, luckily, as being a halal certification body, we have certified more than 250 companies. So we can share the list, and you can see if anything is interested, we can introduce the company who will deal with the trade of those products. And thank you very much. As you can see, one more picture I share with you. This is a New Year food for Japanese food called sechi ryori. Sechi is a New Year Japanese food. Thank you very much. I think this much is enough for the time being. Later, if anybody has question, I can share.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Akhtar, for sharing, giving the halal perspective and also segregating or coming back to the sectors and addressing the sectors. So with this, I think we had 3 speakers. I will request Dr. Malik also to come in now, or also I will request Professor Khairuddin, who is from Malaysia, also with fair expertise on halal subjects, but not to give any long brief of it, but sharing some experience of Malaysia in the halal sector and how Malaysia or Asia and Japan can collaborate with the across Asian countries on the halal space. So I'll request Professor Khairuddin to give a small remarks or any question you have in mind to ask to the panel. Please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you, Akram. I know you will call me. I have to admit that I'm not an expert in the area, but I was just, I've got one, Dr. Zavia, who's also with us now in session, who's watching. She and a few others, there's another one, Dr. Aida from UniKL. These are the ladies who are experts in the Halal Hub, and they know better about what's going on in Malaysia. But if I may just make a remark, is that just a few days ago, I was with someone in the industry guy who is working and who's talking about the more on the logistics component of the Halal Hub industry, okay, and how the food industries and things like that is going on, in the world. But there was one question I wanted to ask him, but I didn't have time. But maybe perhaps today, I may want to post the question with all the other our experts here on Halal Hub in Japan, and Alex and all that, and Dr. Malik. I wanted to ask him, actually, this professor from Holland, I think. I wanted to ask him that if you see all this development in halal hubs, many people are talking more about the marketing of it, the business part of it, and then not very many are talking about the spiritual component of it, which I think is very important. And because I saw just now, Alex was who was the speaker who just finished? He
Dr.
was talking about
Dr. Said Akhtar.
And even in Japan, you have the Halal Hub Association, which is non-Muslim, and then there's the one which are Muslims, right? The Nippon Halal Asia, which is interesting. Actually, my question was, when we look at about all these things that is going on, is there a convergence between the Halal Hub, view, especially in terms of standards? Is there a convergence in all the standards that's going on in the world now, or do you see divergence? Because in Malaysia we have our Halal Hub certification, and then you have in Indonesia they have the Halal Hub, and they all have their own specification. But is there, based on your own experiences, Dr. Malik, Nippon Asia Halal Association, Doc, and then Alex, do you see a convergence in especially, I'm more concerned about the spiritual bit of it, what the Prophet said, or what do you mean by halal, and how do different Muslims in the world look at halal?
Very nice question. Thank you so much, Dr. Professor. So who would Dr. Malik, you can take the lead and then we can come to our panelists. Is there any convergence between halal and Japan?
See, as you showed the video, taking care of your cleanliness, the way you operate, authenticity. Right. Like my personal experience as my classmates in America, the Japanese, even though they were second generation or third generation Japanese, they were very cordial, they were very respectful. They're not cutthroat, they will work with you. So ethics play very important.
Yes.
And why Japan has become a global power, I was watching when I was in high school, In India, the cable TV had just come, and we were watching. I was watching BBC. I was about to do my high school and get into my undergraduate. I saw something that there was Professor Demings who came to Japan in early 50s after the war, and he created the Deming Circle. And the Deming Circle, all these Japanese started following up very well, and that gave us the quality. Now, coming about convergence and divergence, a lot of people have misconception about halal that it's only Muslim. Every religion or every country has a code of conduct. So when you go to the Jewish community, they have kosher code of conduct. When you have Muslims, even as I live in, I'm originally from India now, and American. Even in the Hindus, they have a code of conduct, right? And halal per se is an interesting market for everyone because 1.8 billion population of the world is Muslims. Nobody can ignore that market, right? 70% of Muslims don't even stay in a Muslim country, right? So that's why convergence and divergence will definitely happen. It will not be this. And this market, actually, when we look at data, 70% of products and services are offered by non-Muslim to the halal market.
Right.
I don't want to say non-Muslim, but just for clarification, like the biggest housing mortgage, halal mortgage financing company in America is owned by a Jewish guy. So it's not even religion. It is about a market opportunity, right? Now, as Professor talked about halal hubs, Malaysia is very pioneer, and one of my very close Malaysian friend, Mr. Ramlan Usman, who used to be vice president for Halal Development Corporation, which is the government agency, he's moved to Vietnam, and he started the Vietnam Halal Corporation. And when he was working with the government, the idea was 3%, even though Vietnam has only 3% Muslim population, but the Vietnamese government understood if they want to export big, they have to tap the Muslim market.
Right. Absolutely.
That's one. So there is going to be convergence. And if people think it's religion, then this market is nothing great. But the minute you think it's 1.8 billion population, even you take $1, it's $1.8 billion. Just I'm just
Yes. Absolutely.
And very interesting, I want to say is, can I see Alex? If Alex is there, yeah. When we started with Alex, he put a very interesting line in the press note. I think Alex will tell that why he's got into this market. Very interesting thing what he said. Alex, please share that.
Not sure which one you're trying to refer to, but Lily, one very important fact is that Japan is very domestic, but we must open our door. And when it comes to Muslim, it's like we don't know about it, and that's the big issue in Japan. And when I've started the discussion with Dr. Malik, is that we need to educate people here to remove all this very wrong stereotypes, mainly due to these Hollywood movies, and Lily trying to change how people are seeing what this halal means. And because we're so far from the Islamic culture in Japan that we don't know what it means. We don't know how Muslim people really are. And Lily, I really felt the first thing we will need to do is to organize events in Japan to try to educate the culture. And that was the core thing we wanted to do in 2020. But, having virtual events won't really make anything happen. So I'm waiting the end of the pandemic and trying to get in touch with different embassies of Muslim countries here in Japan and try to start this cultivation of understanding of the Muslim culture, first of all, and then we could think about this market and economy. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alex. I think next question I'd like to have from Javier. So any question, like you convert your point into a question and ask to the panel so that we bring a convergence or we develop convergence in the discussion.
Let me add till the time the question comes.
sorry.
With let me add on, as Alex was talking about, we want to do the Halal Ethical Investment Summit, wherever we have partners, and we want to do a 3D event where we get the investors, we open the startup ecosystem of that country, get the halal partners, and more than halal, we want to talk about ethical. Like I come from America. Now, in America, there's a problem of crony capitalism. We don't have universal healthcare. We don't have a safety net. We don't have anything actually when you compare with the developed world. And a lot of people now, when you look at in America, there's a lot of people who are getting into unionization, who are quitting the job. Why? Because they're just stuck up at $7, and the cost of rent has got 3 times high. So halal doesn't mean anything but ethical. We want to do something which will impact the global economy in a positive way, whether it's environment, whether it's taking care of people. So this market we want to talk about the summit, and Alex and me would like to do that, inshallah.
Thank you. Javia. I think I pronounced your name wrong. Definitely.
Yeah, Dr. Zavia. Zavia.
So
Okay.
This question will be for Mumu.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon everybody. Thank you, Prof. K, for inviting me. Actually, I'm also surprised because so far I have no question, but I'm very delighted to join this webinar. This is very amazing sharing. Because I'm also, my study is in halal supply chain integrity. Looking into the logistic service provider perspective. Okay. So I have just completed, alhamdulillah, my PhD, and then we also have books looking into the halal logistic and supply chain management in Southeast Asia, where I'm also the co-author with Professor Aida. I'm very pleased to share this book, and this book titled Halal Logistic and Supply Chain Management in Southeast Asia. And then we have another book, Halal Logistic and Supply Chain, Recent Trend and Issues, from Reuters. And also another one coming from my PhD thesis is that halal supply chain integrity concept, constitutes and consequences. So I think this is a very good sharing, and we also through this the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. I'm also the Woman in Logistics and Transport Vice Chairperson of Southeast Asia. So we also focus on this halal supply chain through the International Business Forum. So I'm very delighted and also to be with all of you. So hope for further collaboration. Thank you, Prof. K.
I have a question for Ms. Mumu. I've been researching about startup Fukuoka city, and it's very interesting. I saw the presentation, but if somebody, like in a layman, like if somebody wants to come and set up an office there, right, and he already has an idea, he already has a successful business, how can he come? How much money he requires? Simple. Like Akram, for example. Akram runs a news channel, and he wants to just come right away and set up his office. How much money he requires?
You just took my question away. I was about to ask that, but I thought give you the chance.
Dr. Malik can read your mind.
Mumu, let me introduce what we are. So we are a media cum strategic think tank, Policy Times. And Policy Times, discusses or brings stakeholders of different sectors into a single platform and does policy advocacy. We believe that policy is the foundation of development. Policy means national policy, whether it is health policy, education policy, sustainability policy, whatever policy, labor policy. So I believe that developing countries like us, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, or African countries, the major reason of our failure is we do not address policy seriously. And we do not make good policies. We make good policies, then we do not implement the policies in the better way. What Japan does, as Dr. was giving the example, Japan does research for a year to enter into that. In India, it is opposite. We do things first, then we later decide, okay, now we will do the research. So here we started Policy Times. We have done many things. Now we are thinking, okay, we need to do research, what we are doing. So now we are doing pretty well in India. If we want to go to Japan, and we will do policy advocacy only, for example, if we are a startup, so we will pick, for example, aging is an issue. So we will take aging as a major sector and promote what kind of solutions or products we can bring in the market in that. Education policy, health policy, and then globalization, what Alex said. So we will connect Japan with the world between the business and all bodies. So what can be the process to enter and go?
Thank you for your questions. Alex, can you show your last slide? I think that is very good. Last page. Sorry, one page before. Oh, maybe there's some. Yes, this one. And Alex is very correct to point it out what is the problem. Okay, decreasing the population, aging population, and also the energy issues. And Japan is full of the problem, which is an opportunity for you. Thank you, Alex. Yep. So apart from the halal, so if you have a solution for that, yeah, and so simply speaking, you are very welcome. Okay, and for the Fukuoka city or any city who provides startup visa, I think in total about 20 cities in Japan, but Tokyo, Shibuya, Fukuoka are very active to do that, and so the idea is very important. Okay, innovative. Second, contribution to local economy. Maybe I would say that in case halal food, if somebody can create the halal food by using the local ingredients, I think that's really a very good idea. Okay, in terms of money, and of course, you know, the people talking about the sort of investment from the venture capital or whatever, but in practice, it is still difficult for the foreigner to get funding in the first year. So I would say that you have to prepare at least 50,000 US dollar before you come to Japan. Okay, and the 50,000 US dollar is this is for the capital, for the minimum requirement from Japan. Okay, from Japanese government. And maybe in addition to that, you have to prepare some money for your life, but you have maybe Amex or Visa card, maybe so that you don't have to do that. Okay. And Akram said a very good point. In India, yeah, do first and think. Maybe do first, no think. Maybe I don't know. Okay. But I think this speed is very important. I really like it. Okay. And the Fukuoka city is very welcome to this kind of startup. However, okay, we still have a sort of a procedure, okay, because we are working with the Fukuoka city government. I think all the governments have the same issues. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just post our email addresses. So whatever you have some idea, inquiry, just contact us. Okay. Halal, very welcome. But apart from the halal, other new idea?
Media. So Momo Media, if a media channel wants to go there, like Policy Times, then?
Sorry, yeah, media?
Media, yeah.
It's quite good. I really like it, but it will depend how structure the idea. So the media come here, it's very simple. What is your characteristic point? What characteristic business is? Okay.
Development.
So Dr. Malik. And for example, you set down in the Fukuoka, do the media for, let's say, the halal. I understand that you are doing not only the halal, but just an example, right? Then you have to explain why you come to the Fukuoka to do the media for the halal. So that we just need this logic. That's it.
To promote Japanese product offerings to the world. basically to promote Japan to the world. So that's what. So we will discuss about this later after the discussion. Yeah, Dr. Malik, or we can go ahead to take a couple of questions.
Let's do the questions from the audience.
Syed Hidayat and Bashir Yasuf sir. So if you would like to ask questions, please go on. You can unmute yourself and ask voice questions.
Yeah, ask questions only. Don't indirectly. You can promote your company, but just talk about questions.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Syed. I'm from Bangalore, India. I run a startup IT company here in Bangalore. And I don't. Can I talk about my services, or can I?
This is a forum not for promoting business.
Yeah.
This is just talk about your question, please.
Just question.
If you have a question, then only.
I'm looking for any partner in Japan who can collaborate with me for doing business.
Okay. The best way I can answer is you can use LinkedIn. You can talk to, if you're in India, you can talk to the Japanese consulate. They have a trade commission. They will do matchmaking for you. And that's the way everyone works.
Okay. Thank you.
And just to add on that, so what Dr. Malik said is definitely the right thing to do. There's another thing I just put on the chat of this Zoom. There is a platform named the Open Startups. It's I think it's from India. Well, the founder is an Indian person, but they're registered somehow in Brazil. I'm not sure why, but it's a platform which is helping startups get in touch with large corporations all over the world. And there's more than 100 companies from Japan who is participating to it. So if you're trying to expand your business in Japan, or at least try to see if your service can attract attention from Japanese companies, this platform could be one good trial.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Thanks, Dr. Malik.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Bashir Yusuf, you were asking a question, Mr. Bashir Yusuf, that you have presence in Africa. Now he wants to target GCC and Southeast Asia and Japan in next 2 years. So he runs a Halal Ethical Finance company. So it's like finance sector. So how can, what website do we go to? Like what kind of support we can give to him?
So I'm not sure about the detail of the service. It's a fintech. It's what
hello,
exactly?
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, sir. Good morning.
Yeah. So it's an Islamic fintech. We help people make goal-based savings and investment into halal funds and stocks. We also provide people with personal finance and business finance tools to do their expense management, budgeting, invoicing, payment collection, customer management, and so on. So it's our ambition in the next 1 year to expand to the GCC, and in the next 1 year and a half, depending on how we fundraise, to expand to Southeast Asia and Japan. But where Japan, we have reservation about Japan because it has a strong difference in culture. The way Japanese treat money is a bit different from how other people. So I don't know if this is something that Japanese do, like expense management and their budgeting. So we've been a bit stuck, and we're looking for how we can better do cultural research on the users and design our user experience to be tailored towards the Japanese audience. And we don't know if we can get help with that research to understand the market better.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So just to give you as a background, so financial management for private users is an extremely competitive market. A lot of different services in this market. And so the uniqueness of your service is to be able to select halal companies to make investment, right? And a few things you better know is that, first of all, Japanese people don't invest much. Like, investment is not part of the Japanese culture. Most of people are making savings in the bank account, and that's it. And so it's starting to change, but very slowly. Most of people are thinking that investment is for rich people. So you will have probably to wait that the situation changes. But on the other hand, there's so many different services starting and coming from all over the world to try to tackle this Japanese market. So first of all, it's a super tough market. And then the investment being ethical in terms of halal way of conduct, that doesn't mean much for Japanese people because it's almost no Islam people here. So maybe the way you could think about Japan is that try to pick up some of the startups which happens to be halal in a way that they create, I don't know, vegetarian food or sorry, I'm not an expert, so I'm just guessing, but you might be able to find interesting startups in Japan as a investment, and that it's probably a better way to see the Japanese market than importing your service, because again, it's super competitive and you have really huge companies with almost over $1 billion of stock value who is already there. So I think probably not the best way to a country to come unless you become already a unicorn.
Right. And I think other perspective is this halal finance, the consumer of this product are supposed to be Muslims, because non-Muslims may not consume halal financing products and services. I think that way we need to target Muslim markets more for a halal financing fintech company. Achha, one question I have for Alex and Mumu. Any other question? Anyone else who would like to ask question? Please come in. You can ask a voice question also, if you have. I invite everyone to ask any voice question whenever you are ready or you have a question. Mike, I want to ask a question to Alex and Mumu that, yeah, definitely Japan is promoting startups in Japan. Japan is inviting startups from abroad. Now, the other question is, are you promoting entrepreneurship globally? Like, are you coming out of Japan and promoting, because, yeah, as Alex said, that entrepreneurship is pretty much localized, domestic. Now, Japan has a lot of story to share to the world. It has beautiful success stories. How, if we globalize Japan's entrepreneurship or startup ecosystem, it may be a good or best stories across the world. So are we planning something like that?
Well, first of all, the Japanese, well, it's going to take me a lot of long time to explain why, but as a matter of fact, it's a super domestic ecosystem. Most of Japanese startups are only thinking about Japan and not abroad. And the situation is starting very slowly, but starting to change. And more startups are trying to go overseas. And hopefully the situation will accelerate. And I'm sure it's going to take time, but still we are having good Japanese startups trying to go abroad. And there is even one company I'm directly working with who is trying to got investment from Abdul Latif Jamil,
UK.
which, yeah, right. So they are making some blood test kit, super cheap blood test kit, which could even be used in refugee camps. And it's a startup coming from Iwate-ken, which is a very small prefecture in the northern side of Japan. But even those super small companies are tackling opportunities outside of Japan. So I think it's gonna come. It's gonna take more and more years, but the government is serious about it. JETRO, the trade office, is also trying to support the J Startup. This organization is also trying to create opportunities. More and more startup hubs are created in Japan to push the expansion of Japanese startups going abroad. So I think it's going to take a bit more, few years, but it's coming. Yeah, I can feel the trend. Yes.
Mumu?
Okay. And regarding the internationalization, in Fukuoka City is participate a couple of the events in the country. For the Slash in Helsinki, Finland, and also the Latitude 59 in Estonia every year, actually before the COVID-19. So the Fukuoka City is trying to bring the Fukuoka startup to the abroad. So the answer is yes. Second, our organizations. I think that in this month, I was one of the judge of the pitch event in Uganda, organized by JICA Uganda. So that we are very happy to be involved in the local activity in any country. Okay. Third, I think in the next month is now, so we arrange the first event between our team and also the GIFT from the Gujarat. And this is rather the fintech, but this is a very, very first event between the Fukuoka and India. As Alex also mentioned that we don't know halal so much. We don't know Muslim so much. We don't know India so much. I think that's the only question. How to solve problem? Just time. Okay. Maybe if we continue to promote that, yeah, so that we'll be very familiar with halal, we'll be familiar with India, whatever. Okay. So you should just do it, but not only now, but for the certain time. I think that's the questions. Okay, that's the answer. Sorry, and I have to run to another meeting. And now, but very nice to see you. And any question, comment, inquiry is welcome to our email, which we posted on the chat. And thank you for invitation, Malik, and also the very good MC, Aklam, and thank you for all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mumu. Wonderful to have you, Dr. Malik. A few words for Mumu.
Thank you so much, Mumu. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you.
If there is any question.
Last question.
I actually had another question connected to this. If any question there from audience, you're welcome. Else I have a question for Alex maybe. Alex, what are the sectors Japan is looking for when they are inviting foreign startups to come and base in their country?
Well,
excuse me,
Alex.
Excuse me, Alex, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Dr.
Sure. Go on.
Before you reply your question, if there is any question to me, I stay here. Otherwise, I also apologize. I want to go.
Yeah. So any question? Yeah, Professor.
Yes.
Professor,
is there any question?
Or you can do a final comment, Dr. Said, and then you can go, summarize it.
So this is the last question, and then we can go for the closing remarks.
Sorry, Alex. And thank you very much, all of you. Thank you very much for inviting me. And about halal in Japan, if you have any question, including Alex, if you want to learn something, please let me know anytime. I'll be here. We can do Zoom. I can talk about halal, what is happening until now, and what is the future perspective. Anybody from other part of the world, please let me know. Thank you very much, and so kind of you to invite me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Akhtar.
Thank you very much.
And sharing it. So, Alex.
Right. Okay. So, it's very difficult to tell which sector, but there's one very clear in that industry, the kind of technology which is a big hot topic is the CO2. It's probably not only in Japan, but one big thing is that the ex-prime minister made an announcement before he resigned that he will target to go Japan will target to go CO2 free in 2050, which is a crazy ambitious target. But because the government made this announce, all the industries have to think about it, and the steel industry is very hit hard by this decision. Energy, of course, but even Leo Estate, or the air conditioner, not as hot as in India, but still Japan is quite hot in summer, and air conditioning is very important, but it's emitting a lot of CO2. So any kind of technology that could contribute to decrease the amount of CO2 or CO2 absorption can also be good. Japan is also a very good target. And then there is this trend of digital transformation, which is all about switching to digital. And you'll be amazed how Japan is an analog country. Like you have to, if you want to sign a contract, it has to be on a physical paper with a stamp on it. Literally, many, especially big corporates, they don't accept digital signing of contracts, or like fax machine is still heavily used, literally, and so
Interesting.
there, yeah, and literally, there's so many companies like if you wanna come Japan, try to find an apartment, you go to this real estate agency, they will have a fax machine, and they will make phone calls to ask to send the latest plan of the apartment you're trying to get by fax. And so really the digital transformation is a big topic, and there's so many opportunities for anyone. And so that's also the other thing. As I said in my presentation, Japan is losing population. Over 3,000 companies had to shut down even if they were profitable because they couldn't find enough employees. So really, if you have a technology that could help those companies run by replacing employees by robot or AI, so these are the big trends. And mobility, probably difficult because of regulations. It's an extremely regulated country. Like for example, Uber is here for over almost like 6 years now. We still can't call any cars using the Uber application in Japan. Uber Eats is working well, but Uber, you can only call taxis because the taxi organization is lobbying very strongly, right? So Airbnb is illegal. Like this, some of the things that makes Japan very tough to come in because of regulations. So digital transformation, CO2 free, aging population, these are the sectors you should be looking at.
One question, Alex, because Binance became a unicorn from Japan. And because of that, Japan got attention in cryptocurrencies and blockchain. What is the scene out there? Because when we try to research, you don't get the first-hand information. You just read somebody's viewpoint.
Yeah.
So what's the ground reality on that,
Well, so in terms of blockchain and cryptocurrency, Japan was one of the most advanced country because of the technological background, but also the government didn't create any regulations. And this is the very, a very typical Japanese thing is like the government is so slow that when it's a completely new technology, you have a lot of lead time to do things before they create new regulations. But once they understand the thing and they start to regulate, it's going to be very strict. And now it's the open period, so Japan might have more liberty to do certain stuff in terms of cryptocurrencies, but I'm sure that it's going to get regulated sooner or later. So yeah, NFC is also a big trend. The DAO, the DAO is also coming. So in terms of technology, there's so many researchers in universities who have very high skill blockchain technology background. So new things are coming. It's not regulated yet. So there's opportunities for now.
And my final question, like in America, if I want to start a company, I don't need to be there. I can go to a state and just start a company and pay an annual tax. Like in the UK, I have a company in the UK. I don't even travel now because of COVID, but I pay my taxes. Just I'm giving you that. Is there some kind of a business license where people don't need to go and they can just have a license and they can start work?
As far as I know, you have to be physically here. And the thing is, well, maybe if you might be able to become an owner of a company without living in Japan, but as I said earlier, it's so analog. There's so many physical paperwork that you have to go through as a business owner that if you're not physically in Japan, it's gonna considerably slow down your business. And so at least for the first phase of the company, like the first few years, where you have so many legislations or a lot of paperwork, I recommend to be physically in Japan. And maybe later you can move out. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I think we can take the closing remarks from both of you. So, yeah, Alex, I'll request you to.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, thank you very much for the invitation. I was really glad to be able to speak to all this great audience. And Lily, again, Japan is still a very mysterious country, seen from the outside, but it probably takes time, but it's understandable. It will. I very strongly recommend to spend enough time to do research before opening an office without knowing what to do, because it's going to cost you a lot, and everything is so slow that really it's super tough to have any effective output within 6 or 12 months. So do the research, try to stay where you are, get in reach with people, try to do some trials, I don't know, but really don't rush if you want to come to Japan. Patience is gold. So the opportunity is here. You have to be patient, you have to be serious, and be able to find good partners would be the key. And ethical is a good keyword. The way of conduct, Japanese people is very attentive about this idea. So I think there should be opportunities. And if after COVID, anyone here would physically come to Japan and be able to host an event with all of you, that would be wonderful. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex. Dr. Malik, closing remarks.
Thank you, everyone. Mumu left and Dr. Said left, but thank you to them, and thank you to Alex for coming in, sharing the experience. One webinar doesn't help people. You have to keep in touch. So, all these people have already shared their email, and we can do a series of events maybe after this, our whole 11 weeks, specifically for Japan, specifically on certain industries, very specific. Like when we say aging population, then what can be an aging population? And again, I want to clarify, Halal Angels is an angel network tapping the halal economy. But when we talk to investors, they are looking at businesses which are ethical. They don't need a certificate. They just need to be honest companies. Exactly. Or helping socially relevant companies, rather say, like empowering people, whether it's banking, whether it's education, edtech, anything. So this is it. I want to tell everyone we will host a on-ground event, because yes, webinars are good, but when we meet people, it's more exciting. It's more shareable. It's more personal, because we are all human beings. And for a year, we actually stayed away from webinars, but we thought now is the time, because, Corona might go away, hopefully, inshallah, and then we'll do the ground events. Like hopefully with Alex, we will do Halal Ethical Investment Summit in Japan. Also with Alex, we are doing startup villages. There are 3,100 empty villages in Japan. Hopefully, our ecosystem, a startup ecosystem for, getting people reverse migration. Once this thing comes, but I'll always request Alex, whenever you have space, we can do something for, specifically because an American, so Japan America session, or nothing to do with halal then, but just startups. And then maybe Akram is here, we can do India Japan session. We can continue this thing and then do ground event. And my final conclusion for everyone is, startups or businesses, you don't have to wait. You have to, as research, find opportunities and do it, rather than waiting for an investor, waiting for a regulation. As Alex said, sometimes regulations will happen after 5 years. So don't wait for 5 years, start your business. When regulations comes, you can say sorry and do it. Nothing to worry. And one thing I learned in America, everything is fast. The company starts within 6 hours maximum. People take decisions very fast, and the government doesn't bother you as long as you're paying taxes. If you pay your taxes, and even if you don't pay your taxes, they don't even care. Like, Donald Trump, for so many years, only thing is if it creates jobs, everyone's happy in America. So thank you so much for this, and I hope to see you soon, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Malik. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I think I have nothing to say. Dr. Malik has almost covered all the points. We are open, Alex, from India to organize series of startups events between India and Japan, and then also we can club America. So it can be a triangle, and we are open. Malaysia is already here with us, so we can do that. Thank you.